Welcome to Classroom 2 Courtroom. Here's your host, Scott Benton.
Hey everyone, it's Scott Benton here. I am your host on the Classroom to Courtroom podcast. How are you? We are a podcast dedicated to mostly law students, those who have just graduated law school or are about to take the bar or have even passed the bar or even who have not passed the bar and are going to retake it. We know that you're going to pass and become an attorney because you have set a long-term goal. We are here to make the transition from law student to law professional easy and to point out that the practice of law is fun. And through these conversations, we're going to arm you with all the tools that you're going to need in order to make your career as an attorney fun. We are a litigation law firm, so a lot of what we talk about comes from that point of view and people who get into a legal position where litigation is involved. Not all legal jobs, as I'm sure you know, involve litigation, but our firm is involved in litigation. We are a probate. So today's question that we're going to take a look at is when you're stuck on a case, when you get stuck on a case and you don't know where to go with it, how do you get unstuck? This is a very important tool for you to have in your toolbox because this may come up from time to time. Now, first we want to talk about a case that you might get stuck on that we want to shine a spotlight on so we can take a look at it, put it on the table, and then remove it from the table because it is irrelevant, but it's important that you do know that these types of cases exist, which I'm sure you may know, but a lot of times with cases, you might get one that you're working on, and in the beginning, you think that this is a viable case where it has a high value to it, and it's worth working on this particular case. But then as time goes on, as new developments come in and as you acquire information that you didn't have during the intake process, you realize that there really is no value in this case and it's actually not worth working on. So at that point, you need to realize that you don't have a good case and it's time for you to sub out. So you need to contact your client and explain that to them and disengage from that particular case. However, there are other cases where they are viable and you've just gotten completely stuck on them and you don't know where to go and you don't know what. So sometimes cases can be very convoluted and you just aren't sure where to go and you start to think about it. And the next thing you realize, you're stuck in this place of inactivity. You're involved in a place that's somewhere deep inside your mind. You have gotten caught in what we call paralysis of analysis, and you really don't know what to do. Now, the problem of being in that place where you're stuck on a case like that in that way is that the antidote is very hard to get to. You're going to reach a crossroads where you're just not sure what direction to go, and you freeze, so to speak, and you can't sort of move the case forward, and that's a place that you definitely don't want to be. And you want to recognize that you're there because you're going to find yourself in this place from time to time, and you need to know that you're going to stop. You're going to have some tools in terms of how to deal with being in that place where you're just in that analysis of paralysis. You are paralyzed, you're shut down, you really don't know where to go with the case. Now, a lot of times when clients bring a case to you, they're hiring you because they're just not able to articulate the nature of the case, and that's why they've hired you as the expert. They're buying your legal advice, your legal expertise, and your time so that you can help them get unstuck. And if they're unstuck and then suddenly you get stuck, then everybody's stuck and there's really nowhere to go for the case. So it's incumbent upon you to figure out how to get yourself out of that situation. And that's what this podcast is going to talk about. Today, we're going to arm you and give you some tools and some options in terms of moving that case along. Keep in mind that you are really not sure what the case is at this point, and that's what the paralysis of analysis is. You are just thinking about it and trying to put all the pieces together to really understand clarity. You have no clarity in this case. And the problem when you have no clarity in this case is that you have no confidence in this case. And that's going to read in your body language. It's going to read on your face. It's going to read in your voice if you're talking to the client. It's going to read in your emails if you're sending them emails or even text. That lack of confidence is something that they're going to pick up on and something that you need to figure a way to regain that confidence so that you're communicating through all of your communication channels a sense of confidence that your client is going to feel good about continuing to replenish their trust accounts and pay you for your legal services all the way to the end of their case. Okay, so here you are in the state of complete inaction, the state of complete paralysis, and now we need to do something to get you out of that. Well, fortunately, the Classroom to Courtroom podcast talks frequently about what we call the success cycle. The success cycle is a little graphic that we use, and it's going to be your key as you move into your first position as an attorney, as you begin your career, as you're trying to figure out how to practice as an attorney. You're going to use this little tool that we have called the success cycle. And the success cycle is a 3-part graphic that is something that you're going to follow in terms of the first part is a to-do list, the second part is performing the legal services, and the third part is billing for your time. And then you simply repeat, go back to 1, that to-do list. And that's exactly what you're going to do here when you're stuck on a case, how you get out of it. First of all, you want to sit down and you want to look at all of the pieces that have come in. And if there's anything that you've gotten from the intake process and anything new that's come in, maybe from opposing counsel or new pieces of information you've been able to glean through your research, or maybe the client comes back with something new, and you want to put all those pieces together. But you're really mostly interested in moving from a kind of cerebral space to a space of action. You're going to go from thinking, that's it. You're going to move from just being inside of your head to being outside of your head. And the way that you do that, there's an interim step, and this is where the success cycle comes in. You're going to go from that thinking space and you're going to start to put together your to-do list for that particular case. Now, it doesn't feel like you're doing anything because you're still doing a lot of thinking on paper, but really this is kind of a clever interim step that you're going to take between thinking and acting. And so you're going to put your to-do list together. And when you put that to-do list together, you're also going to then prioritize the most important task that you need to get, and then the second most important task, and the third most important task, and so on. You're going to put all of that in order, and then now here's the big moment. Here's the key. You're not only just going to take action, which is good. You need to take action. You got to get out of your head and you need to move into a space of action. But really what you're going to be doing is you're going to be taking massive action. Okay? Not just little pieces here and there, because you can always slip back into that mind prison of that paralysis of analysis sort of mindscape that you get yourself into where you're just thinking and doing nothing. You want to really prime that action pump by taking massive action. Now, you spent some time putting together the to-do list for your case, and they're in the order of priority. The most important is number 1, and the next important is number 2. You are going to start at number 1, and you're going to do this one to-do list item at a time, one task at a time. You're going to take that one task, and you're going to perform it, just like the success cycle shows us. You're going to do the to-do list, take that one item, you're going to perform the legal service, and then you're going to bill for your time immediately. Don't wait. If you wait, that puts you in a dangerous position because later on you're going to be billing for several tasks that you completed, but we don't want to do that. We want to make sure that you're billing immediately after you finish one of those tasks on that to-do list. Okay, so you're going to take that one task, you're going to perform that legal service, that legal action, and you're going to bill for it, and you're going to go back to that to-do list, you're going to take the second item. You're going to perform that legal service, you're going to bill for that item, back to the to-do list. And you're going to go as fast as you can on this and get these tasks done. You want to be accurate, you want this to be good, high-quality work that you're performing for the client who has hired you for these legal services, but you want to develop a momentum. And you want to get going, and you don't want to sit there in thought land, in thought jail, because otherwise nothing is going to happen, nothing is going to move, and you're really going to risk missing deadlines and not taking care of some of the documentation that you need to take care of. All of that is right there on your to-do list. That's your roadmap. The success cycle, once again, is going to save you, and it's going to be your key to performing as an attorney in your first job or first few jobs or whatever it is, the first few years as an attorney that you're working. You need to know how to practice like an attorney, and that success cycle is going to be that key for you to know how to perform as an attorney, how to practice as an attorney, and Now that you have your to-do list on this case that you've been stuck on for quite a while, you're going to take that one item, you're going to perform that legal services, you're going to bill that for that time, and go back to the to-do list over and over and over again. And that's how you get unstuck on a case that you are sometimes hopelessly stuck on and don't know how to get out of. Now, the more you do this, the more you're going to remember that when you're in that space, you need to stop, put your to-do list together, and then get going on those items and check them off your list, knock them down. Okay, now the first few times that this happens, it's going to be confusing, you're going to be stuck, it's going to feel like your feet are, in molasses, you can't really go anywhere, but you need to sort of remember that, okay, to-do list, perform the actions, bill for time. To-do list, it's going to be a little slow, then you're going to get faster and faster and more efficient, more comfortable with this process. And before you know it, when you're in this space where you get stuck on a case, and after you've exhausted all your resources, you've gone to other attorneys and you've discussed the case with them, maybe you've gone to paralegals and discussed the case with them, and you still find yourself stuck and you're not sure how to get out of this, the more that you do this, the more you're going to remember, right, I need to sit down now, I need to put my to-do list together, and I need to knock those off my list. And it's literally that simple. Now, once you have that momentum going, now things are going to start to come back to you. You're going to have opposing counsel that's going to respond to you. You're going to have expert witnesses, and all kinds of other activities are going to start to be generated. So that momentum that you send out there, into the universe is going to bring back to you. And suddenly you couldn't stop that case if you wanted to. You couldn't go back into that mind prison if you wanted to, because there's going to be so much momentum that was started and is still going. It's sustained, it's continuing, because you sat down and made that to-do list, you performed those legal services, you billed for that time, and you started again, and you just stayed in that loop, and you created that momentum that then built and got faster and faster, and now you're no longer stuck. So I hope that's helpful. I hope this is helpful information. If you are enjoying what we're doing with the Classroom Courtroom podcast and you'd like to receive an alert every time we put out new material, then you can go to our website. Our website is classroom2courtroom.com. That's classroom, the number 2, courtroom.com. Put in your contact information, and every time we put out a new episode, you'll get an alert. You can go and listen to that new information. Hopefully that's helpful for you, and it's teaching you what we want it to teach you, which is how to make that transition from law student to legal professional as you begin your career as an attorney. Something you're not, by the way, going to learn in law school, and you're certainly not going to learn by taking the bar exam. So if this is valuable information, we hope you'll like, share, and subscribe, and that you'll join us next time on an all-new episode of the Classroom to Courtroom podcast. And until then, we hope you'll join us in making the world a better place, one client at a time. Thank you so much, and take care.
Thanks for joining us on Classroom to Courtroom, the podcast designed to help launch your first-time legal career. If you have any feedback or ideas for episodes you'd like to hear, you can always find us at classroom2courtroom.com, where you can leave comments, ask questions, and even join our online community. And always remember, by becoming an excellent and confident practicing attorney, you actually make the world a better place. Now get out there and master the art of practicing law.